stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Another group that we're putting it in, so all right. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's Friday. It's the time of the year when get a lot of bleeding on my sodas. I know you guys care. So just wait for Facebook to catch up. Go lay down. All right. So I'll do some talk for my rewatchers. We got the podcast coming out today. I plan on putting out a podcast every Friday now, which is more than you think. I'll be right back. I clearly need to blow my nose. I'm sorry. All right. So yes, podcasting. I'm Andy. Afternoon, folks. Mandish here. Anyway, yeah, podcast coming out today and stuff. So my brain is not quite. I just did the podcast, so I'm usually I have an abundance of other people's feelings is what happens. And yeah, I didn't do my shake me off at the end. So, all right. So it may feel a little weird, but we're here and we're going to talk about being protected without walls. Boundaries is what we're talking about today. What I did, because not much came to mind. I had some readings, but I figured I'd pull up a list of, 5 healthy ways to create boundaries. You need to give me a second. Dion was unprepared, obviously. Now it's too hot in here, and I don't think you want to watch me do it half naked. So boundaries. Okay. Let's do this thing. Now I need a cup of coffee. Just joshing. See, told you it's the 5-minute mark. That's what we're going to have to start doing. So, all right. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. It's a cool fucking name. If you're here, please say hello whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Looks like we got some people. If you'd like to say hello, please do. Or anybody that's not used That's what I thought of. Like maybe saying I'm going to be on at 1:05, but then started at 1. I thought of that too. Right. So, but yeah, the other people went away. They didn't want to say hello. So, okay, let's get to the topic. Let's start with uh, goalie, the heel. This is close to goofy as I'm gonna get. Go heel. Still can't do it. All right. Here are 5 examples of healthy relationship boundaries. First one, expecting others to communicate during disagreements with maturity. Good luck with that. All right. You're going to have to do some stuff first before you're able to set some boundaries. Number one, get to the work. Get to the work. Start doing the steps. Though that automatically will start creating some internal boundaries for you. In the beginning, we got to have some internal boundaries. Those boundaries being, for me, no alcohol in the house. You can't come home drunk. Internal boundaries. I've got to make a meeting every day. For me, it's a boundary. These are, yes, they are practice. Boundary, you got to practice boundaries. Okay. You're going to fall on your face sometimes. That's okay. Because then you figured out a way. At least you found a way not to, right? Okay. And just because you put up a boundary, just because you create boundaries, does not mean that other people are going to even, well, number one, notice. And number two, they will overstep your boundaries. Sometimes you're going to have to be okay with it. Okay. There's sometimes when I intentionally put my foot out to be stepped on so that we can move forward. I quit doing that. Okay. Why should I have? No. See, I thought I was being cool, but no, that's codependency. Okay. So, all right. So here are examples of healthy relations. Expecting other, the fact that expectation is in there is already kind of dangerous for me. Okay. You can't expect others to communicate with maturity. They're not you. Did you know that? So this is going to be a pick your battles kind of a thing on that one. Okay. Now, there are times when people overstep my boundaries, and I will say something immediately. Maybe because I know the person. That's right. Thank you, Mandy. It's because they don't. And this is coming from betterup.com, right? Expectations create resentment. See? So expecting others to communicate, I don't think is a healthy relationship boundary. I see. So what do we call this? And I'm still going to use it. Somebody's reinventing the wheel. This is just clickbait. Letting go, and I just talked about this, letting go of codependency and having your own identity. Oh, but I'm an alcoholic. I'm not a codependent. Lie. That's a lie. Almost every alcoholic I know has codependency issues. Yeah. We lived with codependence our entire life. They took care of us. We know how it goes. Now we're thinking, oh, now I need to be that person. No, they didn't have very healthy boundaries either. That's why you wouldn't have been in their life if they had healthy boundaries. Maybe, just maybe. Right? Stop people pleasing. That's what it means. Stop wearing 5 different hats. Oh, I wear all these hats. I'm so important. No, you're not. You're not being yourself. Okay? That's one thing that I love about recovery is that Dion finally gets to be himself. Finally. After 50 fucking years of bullshit, Dion finally gets to be himself. And that to me is very freeing. It allows me to do what it is that I need to do. And what I need to do is help people, help other people. That is my main goal in life. Aside from my recovery, okay, and my family, of course, alcoholics are next on my list. Or people in general. Even though people in general tend to piss me off. Well, that's because we think we're, and that's just a different form of denial, right? The sense of being over responsible. And it's just the sense of, okay, I don't like it when people constantly ask me, are you all right? Are you all right? Are you all right? It pisses me off. Well, I wasn't all right, but you keep asking, I'm going to chew your ass. Leave me alone. I was all right. Asking for personal space and quiet when you're working. I go through that a lot. Oh, you're a podcaster. Yes, I record stuff. So you need to tell me if you're going to be pulling carpet above my head the next day. Because I have things going on. Okay? People tend to think that what I do isn't as important as what they have to do. Okay? Until I approach them and say, I'm saving people's lives. Okay? Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone. I'm going to leave you alone. Okay? What is it? This is just a matter of having respect for other people. Thinking of other people. Right? Okay. Then you have to watch how they will treat you. Because a lot of times, people treat me different. I'm always being treated different. I'm either crazy, okay, or I'm a guru. Why can't I just be Dion? Okay? People need to allow that for other people. Hey, Gary, good to see you, man. They finally let you out? Well, my wife's not here, so they must have. Good to see you're doing all right, man. Go get some rest. Don't worry about anything. All right. Voicing your concerns rather than holding on to resentments. First, you got to learn how to do that, though. Because most of us aren't very good at voicing our concerns. Do you know how to voice your concern without being a dick? All right. I'll give you examples. Examples, right? So, it was a few weeks ago. I got up a little late. I was pretty wore out, and I think I got up at like 2 or something like that, and went outside. And the guy that owns the house, he says, "Good morning." And usually when people say that to me in the afternoon, they're, growing up, that meant, hey, lazy pants, why are you just now getting out of bed? It means lazy. And I thought you just called me lazy. But he didn't. It's just how he talks. It's how he works. Okay? But it upset me. Because I don't like when people call me fucking lazy. Okay? I'm at. Came downstairs for a second. I'm like, you know what? Let's go talk to him about it. So I went to talk to him. I said, hey, what was your intent behind that? Because the way I took it is you were calling me lazy. And something tells me you don't actually think that way. He's like, no, I always say good morning. Because it's good. See how I just saved myself from a resentment? Was that a boundary with that other person? No, it was not. They did not overstep a boundary. It was an internal boundary. Okay? See, we also need to get to the point where we need to quit thinking, or at least I do, that people are just always talking shit. That it's most of the time not actually happening. See, in order for you to have healthy boundaries, and to achieve any of that, you've got to be honest with yourself. You have got to have a deep conviction of honesty. So deep that even if your worst enemy said you're doing this wrong, you still take a look at it. Well, if they're right, you can change it. Would you do it? You don't have to answer. Be honest with yourself. If the answer is no, pray to God. Pray to God for the willingness to do that. Okay? So, boundaries. You cannot expect people to walk around eggshells because of your boundaries. Those are not boundaries. Those are walls. So this did come from somewhere. The reading. We still have our reading to do. Reading out of Al-Anon today. Courage to Change. Great book. Okay. It's also given us some different topics like this one. Not that boundaries aren't in the other one, but fifth step again today. Surprise, surprise. Daily reflection. Actually, I don't think it was. Giving without strings. That's more 12 step. Okay. Al-Anon taught me the difference between walls and boundaries. Walls are solid and rigid. They keep others out. And they keep me trapped inside. Boundaries are flexible, changeable, removable. So it's up to me how open or closed I'll be at any given time. Mm-hmm. They let me decide what behavior is acceptable, not only from others, but from myself. Today I could say no with love instead of hostility, so it doesn't put an end to my relationships. So whenever I reach out to somebody and ask them to be, because I think they'd be a good fit for the podcast, I always ask them if they're willing to tell their story. And I also tell them, you can say no without feeling guilty. You're allowed to do that. And I give them that boundary. Have you ever allowed somebody a boundary? Given somebody a healthy boundary for themselves? You can do that. That's how you create safe spaces. That's how I do it. I help them create boundaries. The one that I just hit went really well, right? I knew she was the first time telling her story. That's what I love about the podcast. Now she told me at the end, she said, now I'm more comfortable to speak in front of a group. And she's a very shy person. You're gonna find that out in the. I'll be putting it out here in the next few hours. I've learned about boundaries from Al-Anon's own set of boundaries, the 12 traditions. Woo! Yeah, that's a great what you're. Thank you, Patricia. That didn't pop in my mind on this one. It is a great way to recognize your limitations. Absolutely. I don't know if everybody can see that, so I'm going to go ahead and post it here real quick. Okay. Although the purpose is to protect Al-Anon, they actually encourage the growth of fellowship. So think about it, using the 12 traditions for your own boundaries. What are the 12 traditions? Well, the preamble, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other. Our primary purpose is stay sober, right? There are no dues or fees. We do not have any say-so on outside stuff. I was just going to go redo the whole, I was actually going to do the preamble, but I thought to myself, Dion, that's really fucking vain. So I decided not to rattle it off real quick like I'm some fucking expert. Personal boundary. Holy shit, they work. It's funny because every time I come on here, I do it. Almost invariably, either have to do a 10-step or show some change. That's cool stuff, right? So we have no say-so on outside controversy. Boundaries. Do you watch the news? I don't. I watch the news in a long time. I even stay away from the news on my phone. I don't have news. I have CNN or SNB. I don't know. I don't believe anything any of them fucking say anything. Anytime their mouth moves, all I hear is so. This is true of my personal boundaries as well. As I decide what is and isn't acceptable for me, I learn to live protected without walls. I'm also going to bring up another thing here. Let's do today's reminder. Do my defenses keep me safe, or do they isolate me? If you're being isolated, those are walls, not boundaries. Today, I can love myself enough to look for healthier ways to protect myself, ways that don't close everyone out. People are lonely because they build walls instead of bridges. Joseph Fort Newton. Been using this a lot lately. Got some great stuff in it. Recovery's recovery, my friends. If I had anyone to, I'd grab it every now and again. I would, but I don't. So I don't. Okay. What about God in all of this? God, not do good with these personal boundaries. Have some help. Ask God for some help. It'll help you. Just don't pray for patience. Just don't do it. Okay? Or you're going to get somebody in your life that's going to test your patience. So be careful. That's a running joke. Okay? I don't think God does that stuff. I really don't. Testing my sobriety. Nobody's testing your sobriety. You're the only one that does that to you. You're the only one. All right? There's another great boundary. Quit convincing yourself to go out and fucking drink. You're an alcoholic. You got an ism. Maybe it's not alcohol. Maybe it's other stuff, huh? All right. So the best way to do this is to start with yourself by being honest. And you're going to have to be you're going to have to reach down in there and find that black fucking hole that's in your stomach. And rip it out. Take it out. God will help you with it. Right? Another thing boundaries do is they help raise your self-esteem. And that's why a lot of us, almost every single one of us, have a tough time with personal boundaries because we may not feel we're worth it. Okay? And your self-esteem may be standing in your way of you having healthy boundaries. Okay? How do you have better self-esteem? Do esteemable things. I'm not kidding. Do esteemable things. And then you will have self-esteem. Why do you think I do the podcast? Why do you think I do this? It all has to do with how I think about myself, how I present, what it is that I'm doing. One is Dion in a position where he can be of maximum service. And not every day can I be of maximum service. Okay? I do the best I can every day. And guess what? That's perfect. It's perfect. Okay? So be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. All right. I love you guys. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Happy Friday podcast. I love you. Peace out. Have a day. Bye-bye.